Seoul Series Game 1 edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Cut. Cut is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's US-based, available in 40 states. Head to cut.com, that's KUTT.com, use promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. We're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100x in NBA, NHL, college basketball and more. Sign up today using the promo code SGPN to get a 100% deposit match. We're brought to you by SGPN's subscriber-only March Madness Bankroll Challenge. Free to enter, $2,000 in prizes. Enter today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/madness. And finally, we're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Tuesday, the 19th of March, and we are 14 hours away, roundabout, from actual real-life baseball. I am incredibly excited. Joining me to discuss the game that's going off tomorrow is Mr. Dylan Rockford. D-Rock, how are you?
I'm doing well. Good to be with you, Mal. I'm so bummed I couldn't go yesterday. You guys had the award show. I watched it. It was really good. But yeah, we're about 15 hours away from opening day, and it's at 6 a.m. over here for us.
Yeah, we said last week on the show that I feel like for the first time I've got the jump. This is 10 o'clock in the morning for me. This is absolutely perfect. But I am going to go to work because I've schemed a couple of days off for the back end of next week for opening day, for actual opening day. But I'll just get the radio call in the morning. But it's nice to be able to experience it sort of first and live, really. I'm normally playing catch up with all you boys over the pond. But yeah, really looking forward to it. It's a good looking series. It's a really intriguing series. It was fun to handicap. I like the pitching matchups. I like the teams. The setup looks great. The stadium, the Gottschalk Sky Dome, just outside Seoul, looks absolutely brilliant as well. So yeah, really looking forward to it. What I was looking forward to more than anything else, Dylan, was uttering the following words. We have a 6:05 a.m. Eastern first pitch between the LA Dodgers and the San Diego Padres. The Dodgers will have Tyler Glasnow going to the mound. San Diego Padres will send Yu Darvish. Dodgers are minus 200. The Padres are plus 165. Dodgers run line minus 116. Even money for the Padres, plus 1.5. And a total is set at 8.5. That's my favourite bit of the show. So it's interesting, Dylan, really interesting. Tyler Glasnow is coming into this season healthy, and not just healthy, he looks in rude form. He's had a really good spring. Didn't debut last year till May the 27th. And he actually wasn't too sharp on his first start last time around, but he does look ready to roll this time. 10-7 last year, 3.53 ERA. Was a little bit worse on the road, 3.84 road ERA, if we're classing this as a road game. So that was 0.7 of a run, worse than his home record. So maybe a small concern there. Didn't face the Padres at all last year. Yu Darvish last year finished 8-10 with a 4.56 ERA. That to me looks really inflated by a bad last three starts. He absolutely finished like a drain. So that did knock that up a little bit. He started against the Dodgers twice last year and did all right. 1.98 ERA, I think it was, 3 earned runs in the 2 starts with 10 Ks. So I've got no real big red flags for either pitcher here. In terms of the total and the ballpark, etc., I couldn't really find too much information on it. The Korean season isn't very old, and the heroes who play here have been away from home for the start of the season so they can get the ballpark ready. They'll catch up on their home games once this series is done and dusted with. So there's no sort of recent scores But I'll be honest, the books have got it at 8.5, Dylan, and that's good enough for me. The books have done the homework, and they'll have done it probably a lot more diligently than I would. So if that's good enough for the bookies to set the line at 8.5, I think it's going to be a relatively standard sort of game. It's not going to be a Mexico where we saw the line at 15.5 last year. Remember, I got caught out by that. I thought it was a typo on the books, and I filed into the under, thinking they got something wrong, and lost me money within about 20 minutes. So I think, I'm not going to take a side. If you force me, I would take the Padres. I think minus 200 is too short. And actually, I really like the plus 100 because I think it's going to be a close game. The plus 100 on the Padres run line is one of my favourite bets. But it's actually a total, and it's the first 5 total that I like. Like I say, there's no red flags with the pitches at all. The bullpens, I think they're happy to empty them out. The Padres have said they'll even use a starter out of the bullpen if they have to. It's sort of 7 days until opening day. In fact, it's longer, isn't it? 9 days until opening day.
Yeah.
And then the third or fourth starters, it's going to be 10, 11 days till they get used. So it's actually a good chance to get them some innings. So they will just throw the kitchen sink at it. So I can't even see this getting out of hand late on. So I don't mind the under 8.5, but I like the first 5, which is under 4.5. Like I say, Glasnow looks really, really sharp, and I got no real problem with Darvish at all. And that's even money. It's the over 4.5 is juiced to minus money. So even money for under 4.5 in the first 5 innings, Dylan. That is going to be my first bet of this little series.
Yeah, I'm glad you took care of the total because I really had no opinion on it. I set my total at 8.6, so it was right around the number 8.5. Insano makes a good point. I know I watched a lot of Hero games during COVID about like 4 or 5 years ago, and there were a lot of high totals, which is maybe why it went a little higher than what the book said. But if anything, I'll take your word. I'll lean under, especially first 5. I think they'll start off a little slower, but I'm going to lean Dodgers here, minus 1.5. A little chalky, minus 120. I also like Dodgers team total over 4.5 as well. Kind of chalky as well, minus 140. I just think with the amount of talent the Dodgers have added this offseason, it's going to be too much for the Padres later in the game. I feel like this series is like the perfect liftoff point for the Dodgers. Going based off last season, the Dodgers had one of the best offenses in baseball, while the Padres, I feel like they were just kind of average. And not to mention, they did lose Juan Soto, one of their best bats. They ranked 12th with a 323 weighted on base average last season, while the Dodgers were second with a 341. So then they added 70 combined home runs with Teoscar Hernandez, Ohtani to the lineup. So they smashed 249 home runs last season. They ranked second in the major. San Diego was 13th with 205. And if we look at the pitching matchup, like you mentioned, Yu Darvish and Glasnow, he's making his first start, and it was the key what you said. He's finally healthy. He was lights out the past 3 seasons. And 120 innings last year, he pitched a 3.08 ERA. His fielding independent was 291. I do think he'll be able to outduel Yu Darvish here. I honestly think, in my opinion, I think Yu Darvish is kind of a little past his prime. He had a 4.56 ERA from 2023, in addition to the lowest strikeout rate in his career, with just 4.6% of pitches are coming out of strikeouts. So, I do think the Dodgers will take care of business. I like their run line minus 120, and like I said, I think they'll put up some runs. So, gonna go over 4.5 as well as their team total.
What I'm hoping here with the Padres is why I would lean to them and the run line. And we covered this on the season preview episode, was their record in 1-run games and in extra innings last year was just an absolute madness. They were 9-23 in 1-run games. And then they were a virtually impossible 2-12 in extras. And they still got to 82 wins with a late hot ride. So they've just got to turn some of those things around. Now, obviously, that's not all just bad luck. The clutchness, however you measure that, but situational hit and stuff like that. I think the Padres, tomorrow's a good chance to get into a close game and then to turn it in your direction. If they can start doing that, I think the Padres are going to be all right this year. So we've got time to make some player props
I will
Dylan
say,
as well. I've got some hitting.
can I
Go,
say, I
yeah,
think
go on,
real
mate.
quick, the Dodgers they're so stacked with all the name talent that they have. They're going to be mispriced a lot this season. I feel like we're going to be able to get some real good value fading the Dodgers in certain spots. We like to fade people on maybe Fridays or Sundays. And I just think -194. I didn't even make them that big of a favorite. I only made them a -170. So at +170, like I know I said I do like the Dodgers -1.5, but like there are going to be some incidents. I can't fault you for throwing like a little pizza bet on the Padres because I do think in certain instances this season the Dodgers are going to be extremely outpriced.
Trev in the chat is just asking for the Shohei Ohtani props, home runs, and total bases. He's plus 240 for a homer, Trev, and -116 for over 2.5 total bases. So there are some players who came on both of our radars in a minute. I'll just remind you to get towards the March Madness contest. The March Madness starts tonight, I think.
Yep.
Is that right? 10 o'clock?
Yep.
Is there a little playing tournament or something,
Yeah,
Dylan? Or
yeah,
is it?
they got the 16 seeds playing, and I think
Yeah.
yeah.
So they're there sort of 10 o'clock my time, which is perfect actually for me tonight. So I'll get my first couple of unders on, watch them before bed. And there's a bankroll sale contest there. $1,000 first prize or $2,000 if you're a member of the Patreon. So that's something fun to go to. Cut peer-to-peer social betting, one of our favourite sponsors here, and all the lads from the network have been sticking their own bets up there, trying to get some action. You can find that at cut.com. That's KUTT. Use the promo code SGPN for a 10% deposit bonus. Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Pick your 5 players, higher or lower. Make it spicy for up to 100 times your single money. You can do that with our code MLB SGPN. Must be 18 or over, present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org if you're concerned with your play. Game time, getting us tickets for anything you want. Sport, music, comedy. The Game Time Guarantee refunds you 110% of the difference if you find tickets in the same row and section for less. So the thing to do there is go to Game Time. What's the app called? I've lost my page. Game Time. There it is. Download the app. Use the code CFBX. $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Lowest price guaranteed. And Hall of Fame bets. Stop betting in the dark. Join 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame bets. Okay, Dylan. Players, I've got both sides of the ball covered here. Where do you want to start? What have you got?
Let's start with the pitcher if we can. We talked about the pitching matchup. And I love Tyler Glasnow here. I'm gonna ride his over 6.5 strikeouts at +116. Besides his great ERA, Glasnow was a strikeout machine last year. He had 33.4% strikeout rate in 120 innings last season. Since 2019, he's had a K rate of 33% or higher in every season. He's one of the best at making batters look foolish. And, if you look on the Padres side, they did limit their strikeouts last season. Their strikeout rate was only around 20%. So that would scare some people off this prop. But, it is the start of the season. These lineups they're not going to be in tip-top shape right off the bat. So that's why I kind of like your under, especially the first 5. And so, especially a Padre lineup that's unproven, especially on the back end of it. You got Graham Paul, either DH. How's he going to do? You got Jackson Morrell, the center fielder. I feel like Glasnow could breeze through the back end of this lineup. In spring training, he dominated. He only did limited action. He went 10 innings, but he turned that into 14 strikeouts. That's 39% strikeout rate. So that's what you want to see going into the start of the season. And just to make my case a little more, out of 21 starts last season, Glasnow punched out 7 or more batters 15 out of the 21 times. So I love this number, 6.5, and I'm getting +116. I'll take that every day. That's my best bet of the show.
Well, I love that, Dylan, because I've come down on the same side with the same bet and with several of the same stats stood out, 15-6 record to the over 6.5 strikeouts, as you've just rightly pointed out. That actually finished the season 14-3, and because before that 14-3 record, he had 3 sixes in a row, so it's not like he was missing it by much either. But did finish the season 14-3 over 6.5. Now there's a little bit. It's a little bit chalky. It's -147. But I don't mind a little ladder, Dylan. Why don't we? The over, where are we going? Over 7.5 strikeouts is +240. Over 8.5 is +450. And over 9.5 is 10-1. So if you fancy Glasnow to get through the lineup, as Dylan suggests, all the way up to 10 strikeouts at 10-1. So a little ladder going. And yeah, I really like that. On the other side of the ball, Dylan, what caught my eye was that left-handed batters did better against both pitchers here last season. Glasnow, right-handed hitters only hit 164 against Glasnow, but lefties hit 247. So I was looking at the Padres left-handed players. Jake Cronenworth stands out as a good bet at over 1.5 total bases. Is +155. And there's a bet I absolutely love here. Now, he's probably going to bat 9, which is Jackson Merrill. And it's the rookie kid who has broke camp with the big league team. And I think the books have maybe just overlooked him a little bit. Over half a total base for him is -125. So it's not the fanciest of price, but he can put bat the ball here. And like I say, I think that's one of my favourite bets. And it's a similar kind of thing with Darvish. Lefties hit 271 against Darvish. Now, there's quite a few lefties in this Dodgers lineup and some good ones. So, understandably, Ohtani and Freeman are very, very short. But there's another one further down the list, and that's James Outman. James Outman was good last year. We followed him a few times. Myself and Noah drafted him in our TG FBI league, and he is a really nice price for over 1.5 total bases. That price is +160. So I'll be taking the left-handed hitters to get us on the board tomorrow, Dylan.
I even like Will Smith, the catcher for the Dodgers. He's batting 4th in the projected lineup. So, I mean, you got Mookie Betts, Shohei, and Freddie Freeman. I think I'd take a chance for Will Smith to get an RBI +125. I think that's a good look as well.
Yeah,
if anyone is getting on base, I feel like Will Smith could get them home as well. I really like that bet. And Yu Darvish has kind of struggled against the Dodgers as well. Will Smith, he hits righties way better than he does lefties. So I like Will Smith. I was looking at that +125 to get an RBI. I think that's a good bet. That middle of the lineup is just going to rake in RBIs.
Yeah, it's quite terrifying, isn't it? Let's just hope they get off to a slower start tomorrow. Finally, then, Dylan, if you got, we know Chicks dig the long ball. Have you got someone who's going to hit us a home run tomorrow?
No, I didn't put anyone in, but Shohei, maybe, I guess. Freddie Freeman, I did take him, Freddie Freeman, to lead the league in home runs, so hopefully he gets off to a hot start. I don't know. I really didn't look into the home run prop too much. Definitely going to look on the Dodgers side, if anyone. Maybe Teoscar Hernandez as well. But, yeah, I really haven't dug too much into it.
I thought there was one standout home run play, and it's more of a narrative play, Dylan, because we've got a South Korean who will receive a hero's reception, no pun intended there, tomorrow. And that's Ha-Seong Kim, who's just got better and better and better, really. He actually hit 2 home runs yesterday, I believe, in the Padres warm-up game. So he's got his eye in, and he is +750. So it just makes sense. It's a nice little fairy tale that he can hit one out tomorrow. +750 for the hometown hero tomorrow. Looks like it's fun to me. Trev's asking, Teoscar is on the Dodgers, ? Come on, keep up, Trev.
He's dialed in March Madness.
He is dialed into March Madness. There's just too much going on. I'm sitting here watching Tampa Bay, Boston in spring training. Tell you what, Dylan, if I lived in your country, I would be at every spring training game. They just they pan across to all the people sitting on the bank, sitting on the grassy knoll. And you couldn't drag me away from there. Wild horses couldn't drag me away from there. I would just absolutely adore that day in, day out. I think we've done it, Dylan. We've picked some winners. We're going to have an under. We've picked some total bases. We're going to get some strikeouts from Glasnow. Hyasung Kim's going to hit one out late on. All sorts of things. Anything else you want to add before we let the people get on with their day?
No, I just can't wait to get into the thick of things. You know, I am going opening day next Thursday, actually against Trevor's team, the Dodgers. Yeah, Dodgers Mets. We'll see how that fucking goes, but just praying for a good competitive game.
Trev's a Brewers man, isn't he? Am I getting confused with somebody else?
No, he is. Last time I checked, he is.
Oh, so Mets Brewers next week?
Yep, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Wish us luck.
They're about 2 injuries away from you getting the start, Dylan. So I would stay loose, mate.
Call me up. I'm ready.
Couple of more guys go down. You'll be out there throwing 72, no problem. Thanks, Dylan, for joining us. I know you've had a stressful couple of days, mate. So it's nice to see you smiling and to hear you full of beans. I appreciate that. Trev, Captain Insano, appreciate you as well. We'll probably do this round about the same time tomorrow, some variation of the gang for game 2, which is on Thursday. So yeah, looking forward to that. Thanks, everybody. Keep your eyes peeled for the rest of our content, and we will see you down the road. Cheers.